Hey, welcome to Don't Get Around Much for solo jazz guitar. I wrote out hopefully what an easier arrangement, nothing really fancy, just a melody with a few chordal embellishments. A lot of this comes from two of my videos, seventh chord grip shapes and my seventh chord inversions. So I highly recommend that you brush up on those. Get my worksheets from me if you need it. And the chords, chordal knowledge is super important. So I'm going to walk you through this arrangement for Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Key of C. Oh, this was kind of a request from Flying Fish. So hey, I'll send it out to you. But a lot of my students love this one. So, and I love to play it. It's classic. I'm starting with the treatment of the melody, which is really just this. Okay, I'm doing it in octaves, but it's a good idea to always learn the melody. 1. And I'm actually playing it with my pinky as a demo to prepare myself for the octaves. 1. Okay, so if octaves are new for you, kind of that West Montgomery Joe Pass style, it's a nice way to thicken up the melody. It's kind of an illusion. It sounds thicker than it really is. 1. So you can do it with your thumb a la West. Okay, so here it is. Okay, just get those notes down. And if you were to do it with your pinky, okay, it's 12th fret, 10th fret, 8th fret, which is Mi, Re, Do on a C chord, key of C, this arrangement, and then 5, 4, 3. Well, tab is 6, 8, 5, but that's the melody. 3, 2, 1, Mi, Re, Do, then 5, 4, 3. Okay, it's good to know this information. You know, you can kind of use this stuff for improv. Okay, anyways, but back to the chord melody. Okay, there's your octave treatment of the opening phrase. And by the way, the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, there's a little syncopation. And then 1. And everybody does that. By the way, what I'm doing here, it's slightly different from the fake book. I'm starting with the grip shape C major 7, 5th fret, D minor 7, chromatic slide, E flat minor 7, into E minor 7. Some fake books might say D sharp diminished 7 or E flat, but I just like the slide. 1. Another note is also I'm doing this hybrid picking where I'm holding my pick, but I'm also plucking with my fingers. I do that quite a bit. So you might strum, you know, or you might just be all finger style. So do what you need to do. I'm just going to kind of show you what I'm doing here today. 1. Same thing, and this time C13. The book might say C7, but of course it's nice to add some color. And now it's just a chromatic walk down. 1. From C, 8th fret. By the way, if you don't know your C13, let me help you form it right now. Hopefully you know C7. Okay, it's a little bit more plain sounding, but just by going up a whole step on this second string, the B string, you now went from the 5, sharp 5, 13. The 6 is called the 13 on a dominant chord, so slide it down chromatically, 1. So here we go, 3, 4, 1. Very big band style, those syncopations. The next phrase, awfully different without you. And again, know the melody. This is chord melody, so we have to have the melody there. And actually, I'm just playing the melody as single notes. And that's just, on a C scale, it's just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So hopefully you can do that. I'm doing it right here. 8, 6, 5. That was all on the second string. And then 7 and 1. Again, I'm hearing this in my head. So fa mi re do. I was almost going to do that in falsetto. You don't want to hear that. Okay. But the rhythm, awfully different with, and I'm swinging it. Now, D7, okay, this is an inversion, D7, like an A7, hopefully you know, but we don't want A7, we want D7, so that's the 8th fret, the flat 7's on top, and then a D9, which you might say, hey, isn't that F sharp minor 7 flat 5? Someone else might say, if they play gypsy jazz, isn't that A minor 6? But this is a D9. It is, by the way, those other chords, but I'm hearing it. That's actually true D9. I'm omitting the bass, so it really is an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. But you don't need the bass note necessarily. So I'm kind of doing, this is kind of what I call to my students the Joe Pass method. A lot of implications and not stated bass notes. It's really nice and simple. You don't need a lot of big chords again. So then I'm going to put G here. And that was G13 again. I just went, then right into that little lick. Don't get around much. Okay? And now it's chromatic, kind of very bluesy, like imagine this. You know, kind of like Basin Street Blues. So that's 3, 4, sharp 4, 5. Again, not to confuse you with the frets. The frets is 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. And it starts on the upbeat there on the and of 1. 1. So I'm actually doing an upstroke. 1. And resolving it to the root. And then a flat 3. 3. Root. And that's the riff that, you know, everybody recognized. 1. Well, that's what I did at the end there. But this riff, and then back to the statement of the A section. And what I did there was I resolved it to C on the word more. 1. Don't get around much anymore. Then I went to a C sharp diminished 7. That's a sub for A7. Any of you gypsy jazzers out there? I'm sure you know that substitution's a dark sound, but it's quite common in jazz standards because it creates a chromatic bass line. And back to your A. So I went from C sharp dim 7. Again, refer to my videos if you need help with this. D minor 7 or D minor 9 if you want to fancy it up. Any of those are fine. Here's a repeat of the A. 13. And I just kind of did that as a little fancy triad lick. I'm not going to show that. That's not written on my tabs. I instead, sorry for the teaser there, that little lick there. That's kind of inspired maybe by Joe Pass or something. So, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum. And there's C6. And that's the basic arrangement there. G minor 11 and C7. That G minor 11 is this, by the way. And I'm doing that to keep the C here. See, so if I went from C6, by the way, see, that's a resolution. So it's good to know it that way. You don't need the fancy stuff. The little A train lick I did. G minor 11, C7. So that C note stay down. G minor 11 is this, by the way. Here's G minor 7. Take this string, walk it down a whole step. That's now G minor 11. Really colorful. Okay, then I want the B section starts with this D minor 7 chord. It's really an F6, okay? But many of you know it as D, but here's F. But again, inversion-wise, I often say that's a D minor 7 or F6, okay? But in this case, in the song, it goes to the 4 chord, F6. And then F sharp dim 7 on the C note up there. So we have the 10th fret, just bar across, it's like playing the ukulele. That's a sharp 4 diminished, very bluesy. That's a C6 9 chord, kind of, I use this line in Django style. That's 10 9 10 10, C6 9 chord. Okay, and then C6 9, and then again C6. This is what I call the magic shape. This shape. This is all very Django. If Django, I don't think he ever recorded this song, but this might be something that he would have done. And that really is the melody, by the way. So, and then, and again, that's C6 9. If these new shapes are high for you on the top 4 strings, this is a lot of what I focus on in chord melody playing. Okay, that's 10 9 10 10. And this next shape, I love this shape. Django used that quite a bit. It's just a series of stacked fourths. And the frets are 7, 7, 8, 8. Okay? And then slide it. That's at the root on top of C. We're on a C. So again, refer to my PDF for this or in the Facebook chart to compare. And then C6, 9 again. These are both C6, 9 shapes suggested. And then I went to C major 7, just plain old, folky style there. And then just for embellishment, I did our little gypsy jazz style diminish. So that was this diminished 7th chord on the 3rd fret. Okay, hopefully you have that formation, which is 2 3 2 3, and then slide it up 3 frets. It's symmetrical formation. You can have a lot of fun with that. Okay, and then I went back. Now that I didn't take it that far the first time, but you could if you want to. You could do all that good stuff. So it gives you a lot of fun things to do when you really understand these movements. Besides just learning the arrangement. F6 again. Now the second time, we don't want to go to the fully diminished. We're going to go to this shape, which is F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Again, if you put an A in the bass, it becomes A minor 6. Django used that quite a bit again. 7 9 7. I'm borrowing 8, and then that's going to go to a fully dim. That's a 2 5, and that's going to go to E minor 7. So I say this is a little bit easier, but it does require that you know your 7th chord inversions on the top 4 strings. Okay, so here's that part again. There's a diminish, E minor 7. Then we go to A7. Actually, I'm adding on the 13 too, just to get a little bit hipper. That was the tab for that, by the way, is, well, A13 would be this. And I'm just getting the 9 on the top. So I'm omitting that again. We can put it in the bass. But again, I don't feel it's always necessary to even state bass notes. So the tab for this is 5, 6, 7, 7. And then, then I'm lifting up my pinky. So it's just a root on top. It went from the 9 to the 5. And then D minor 11. And again, I can work a little bit harder to get that bass note, which, hey, I like that too. But oftentimes, I just suggest it. And then chorus. You probably wonder, how does that sound again in context? The second part of it is. Okay, so that whole B section, diminish, 2, 3. That was just filler, half dim, fully dim. I did octaves that time. I love the whole tone scale too much. So there you go. I hope that helps you learn Don't Get Around Much Anymore. I do have my handwritten PDF, of course, the lead sheet I recommend to analyze, and some soloing ideas too. All this will be available via Patreon. I'm going to just kind of put everything on that site. I'm going to be releasing videos, hopefully weekly. So please consider joining my Patreon page for PDFs, arrangements, exercises, all these little tips, exercises, again, whatever I could think of that helps you. I teach a lot of private lessons and a lot of groups and workshops. So I'm always kind of taking notes and requests from students, both on the internet and, of course, live. So we'll be seeing you soon. Please keep an eye out for my Patreon page again, and consider joining to get all these rewards. Thank you.